Today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a VR to Celina's The Witch Within. So stay tuned. All right, so if you are a member of the group Divination and Spirituality, which is my sister Rochelle from Amethyst Ascension, we've been doing something monthly projects, and September was mine, and we did Know Thy Hand. October is Celina from Essence of the Moon, and we did a live with her, kind of like a witchy roundtable where we all discussed what it feels like to be a witch, and she actually had come up with these, I think, 13 prompts. I think it was 13. I don't remember for sure. Maybe it was 10. But anyway, so I wanted to jump in on that. But while I'm doing that, I thought I would go through my sister's Darkness Falls tarot deck, because I don't think I've done a walkthrough of this yet. And I thought it was appropriate, you know? So here we go. So the first question is, who was the first witch that you recognized in yourself? So if we're talking about the first witch I ever recognized, either on screen or in myself, it would have to be Samantha from Bewitched. She was the first image of a witch that really captured my imagination as a child. And what I loved most about her wasn't the spells or the broomsticks. It was her effortless power of manifestation. You know, crinkle up that nose. Even then, something about that resonated with me on a very deep level. I remember believing in that kind of magic long before I even knew the word, quote unquote, manifestation. My sister and I once wished upon a star to go to an amusement park. I think it was Cedar Point or maybe SeaWorld. I don't remember for sure. And the very next day, my mom surprised us by saying, "Hey, you want to go?" And we looked at each other in absolute awe, like we had just cast our first spell. And as a child, I would often replay my wishes in my mind over and over, visualizing them until they happened. So looking back now, I realized that was my first form of magic, the magic of intention and belief. So if I were to name the kind of witch I was even back then, I'd say it was a manifestation witch, or perhaps a dream weaver. Someone who instinctively knew that imagination and will could shape reality. The second question is, how were witches in your ancestry or culture treated, honored, hidden, or persecuted? Well, when it comes to witches in my ancestry, my sister has actually done more of the deep genealogical digging, but what I do know is that the energy of the witch has always been present in our family, just hidden beneath layers of religion, secrecy, and survival, probably. So on my grandfather's side, there were people involved in politics, and my guess, likely secret societies, which often had occult undercurrents. I've always felt that behind those respectable fronts, there were individuals quietly working with energy, intuition, and intention. In fact, we can take it back to the, I'm having a brain fart. The Farmer's Almanac, yeah, that was in my family line too, of creating those. And so, we might call that witchcraft, right? So my sister even believes that some of our ancestors may have been persecuted during the Salem era, though I don't know about hard proof on that. So my grandmother, though, is where I saw the witch most clearly. She had a deck of tarot cards that she kept hidden away. I don't think she really thought they were evil. There was some type of superstition that kept her from throwing them out. So I think deep down she knew that there was some type of power there, something sacred that she didn't fully understand or wasn't allowed to embrace because she was Christian. probably, I think looking back now, I think she might have been more Catholic in her beliefs, from what I know, because she did believe in the saints. And there's a sense of ritual to that, to me. That feels witchy in its own way. I mean, that's my opinion, but Catholicism, I think there's an overlap there in witchcraft. So don't come for me. So I'd say witchcraft in my family was suppressed, but never extinguished. I think it went underground, woven into prayer, superstition, and quiet intuition. My sister and I are a part of the generation that's bringing it back into the light, I think. Honoring the hidden ones who came before us and reclaiming what they couldn't speak aloud. So the third question is do you believe you had past lives as a witch? And if so, what era calls to you? So I don't know that I would say I had past lives as a witch, because honestly, I feel like I've always been one. The energy of the witch feels like something woven through every incarnation of my soul. It's not a title I put on. It's an essence that I feel I've always carried. So to me, each lifetime is part of my soul's evolution, like different stages of the same great remembering. Every version of me brings forth the lessons, wisdom, and energy of the ones who came before. I sense that with every life, my power or awareness amplifies a little more, almost as if my oversoul keeps leveling up, integrating everything it's ever learned. And for the second part of that, as for the era that calls to me the most, I'm drawn to the ancient world. Long before written history, the time when the divine and the earthly beings were still one and the same. The era of the Anunnaki, the temples, the mystery schools, when magic, science, and spirit weren't separate things. I feel a deep pull to the days when Jesus walked the earth, and even further back to civilizations that whispered the original truths of creation, in my opinion. But I also feel connected to the medieval period, the age of the Templars, and hidden knowledge. When old mysteries went underground and secret orders guarded what was once openly known. So if I had to sum it up, I'd say the oldest of the old. Wherever the first spark of the witch, the magus, the seeker, wherever it all began, that's where I feel my soul remembers itself. The fourth question is, what tools, herbs, or rituals feel like home to your craft? That's actually a tough one for me, because while I know what I'm drawn to, I don't always understand why. My craft feels more instinctual than structured, more energy than ritual. I've always been guided by scent and sensation, so cinnamon makes me feel warm and safe, like firelight in the soul. Calendula or calendrum, as I first came to know it through my friend Celina, and it instantly became a favorite, though I couldn't tell you why at first. Then there are the bright, clean smells of lemongrass, lemon, and orange. Those citrus notes, they make everything feel alive again. Even certain musks call to me, like certain whispers of something ancient and familiar. Patchouli, I love patchouli, but I'm drawn to the elements also, especially the storm. Thunder, rain, lightning, fire that dances and speaks. Sometimes I can even clear clouds from the sky just by focusing on them and doing some hand things. And when it works, it feels like a gentle conversation with the elements themselves. So I guess the tools that feel like home to my craft are not so much objects, but the forces of nature. So my tools are my hands, my breath, my will, and my imagination. And to me, that's exactly where my magic lives and is directed from. Question 5. Have you ever been gatekept or told you weren't a quote-unquote real witch? And how did you respond? I don't think I've ever personally been told that I wasn't a real witch. In fact, most people who know me have always said I give off witchy energy. Mysterious, magical, maybe even a little spooky. But I've definitely seen gatekeeping in the community. The kind of talk that tries to box witchcraft in, where people say, this is witchcraft, but that isn't, or if you're not doing it this way, you're not a real witch. And honestly, that kind of thinking does trigger me because I believe that witchcraft is deeply personal. And in my opinion, there's no single right way to connect with magic. And to me, witchcraft and magic are inseparable. In my opinion, they're hand in hand, literally and spiritually. Magic is the heartbeat of the craft for me. When someone tries to limit that or define it for others, it feels like they're refusing to look beyond themselves. I see that kind of gatekeeping as a form of ignorance. And ignorance, in my opinion, is a choice. It's a refusal to see the world in all of its shades of wonder. When I witness that kind of energy, I do speak out. I use my platform here to give voice to the ones who may not feel strong enough to speak yet, because I know if something triggers me, it's probably triggering others too. And so I do speak for those that see beyond the black and white labels, for those who live in the gray, in the liminal spaces, in the rainbow between. To me, that's where the real magic lives anyway. So question number 6 is, which archetype speaks to you most? The healer, the seer, the midwife, the hedge walker, the death worker, etc. You guessed it. This is another hard question for me because I've never fit neatly into one archetype or any box, really. I know that I'm a healer. I know that I'm a death worker. And I know that I'm highly psychic. But if I had to choose one word that threads all of that together, it would be mystic. I call myself a mystic who practices witchcraft because witchcraft doesn't fully define what I do or who I am. The mystic in me seeks the hidden truths. I look beyond the veil into the mystery itself, searching for the patterns that connect everything. So witchcraft to me is the language through which I express that mystery. So when I say I'm a mystic, I think it sometimes triggers people. I've had others respond with, well, I'm just a witch. Almost, maybe it's just me, but it feels like it's a challenge. But that's fine because I know who I am. And I've looked at both definitions, what a witch is and what a mystic is. And I definitely embody both. So to me, the word witch definitely has been politicized. It's been boxed in and sometimes used as a label of rebellion more than essence. So the word mystic speaks to the timeless seeker within me, the one who listens to dreams, communes with the unseen, and searches for the truth behind the illusion. So yes, I am a witch, but I'm also something more. I'm the bridge between magic and mystery, light and shadow, life and death. I'm a mystic. 7 is, how do you balance fear, persecution, judgment with empowerment and calling yourself a witch? So for me, balancing fear, persecution, and judgment with empowerment really comes down to understanding where all of that begins. So the word witch has been politicized, not because it's inherently political, but because people have made it political. Somewhere along the line, witchcraft stopped being seen as a sacred practice and started being used as a symbol for people's personal agendas, in my opinion. But I don't buy into that because I refuse to let my craft be reduced to a hashtag or a headline. I don't politicize my witchcraft, again, on purpose. My spirituality is not a campaign. It's a relationship between me, energy, and the unseen. And when people try to gatekeep what it means to be a witch or say things like, well, if you're a witch, you have to believe this or stand for that, I recognize that for what it is. Black and white thinking. Fear disguised as righteousness. I take pride in being a mystic who practices witchcraft, even though I've only been intentional about it for a few years. It's something that's always lived within me. I'm cautious with labels because I've seen how they can become cages. People will weaponize them to divide or control, and I just won't participate in that energy. I think that any label is politicized today. The way that I stay empowered is by remembering that belief is power. What I give my belief to, what I focus on, grows stronger. So I'm very intentional about what I believe. I do my research. I question everything. I move from truth, not trend. And at the end of the day, fear loses its hold when you know who you are. And I know exactly who I am. A mystic, a witch, and a free being who chooses her own truth. Number 8, share a moment where magic revealed itself undeniably in your life. Ooh. Honestly, there have been so many moments when magic has revealed itself in my life that it's hard to choose just one. But the very first one will always stay with me. And that, again, was when I was little and my sister Rochelle and I wished upon that shooting star. We wished to go to Cedar Point or maybe SeaWorld. I can't remember which. But on the next day, out of nowhere, my mom said, hey, you girls want to go? And we just looked at each other in awe. Like, we did that, you know. It was such a small thing, but it was also everything. And that was the first moment that I truly knew magic was real. And since then, it's been the same kind of everyday magic. Manifestation through trust and imagination. Like when I'm driving downtown and there's no parking anywhere, I'll just drive around the block and see myself pulling into an open spot. 9 times out of 10, by the time I circle back, someone's pulling out right in front of me. So, or when I start to feel anxious approaching a stop sign with busy cross traffic, if I envision the road clear before I get there, it usually is. But if I let anxiety take over, the energy is then blocked. And that's taught me so much about how magic really works. It's about belief, focus, and letting go of fear. So, you know, while I can't really pinpoint one single most magical moment, that first wish upon a star as a child was a pivotal turning point. It planted a truth inside of me that's never left. Magic is real, and it begins with belief. Number 9, which tarot or oracle card best represents the witch in you? The tarot cards that best represent the witch in me would have to be the High Priestess, the Magician, and the Fool. The High Priestess reflects my intuition, the bridge between worlds, that part of me that listens to what isn't said and sees what isn't shown. Now, the Magician is my will, my ability to channel energy, to bring thought into form. But the Fool, the Fool is my soul. If I could create my own card, it would be the Fool at the end of the journey. The one that has traveled through every archetype, learned every lesson, and faced every shadow, and still chooses to believe. That, to me, is the heart of real magic. To stand in the chaos of the world, surrounded by doubt and fear and other people's projections, and still keep my wonder intact. I think I embody all the cards in the major arcana, because to reach that state of awareness, you have to walk through every aspect of yourself. But the Fool, the forever student, the one who never stops learning, that's who I am at my core. Even after everything that I have seen and experienced, I still believe in magic. And I think that that's the most powerful kind of witch that there is. I remember Courtney from Aries Witchcraft had compared me to the Fool in the tarot. I don't remember how the question was brought up or but, you know, we were comparing, you know, and she said that she looked at me like the fool. And at first I was offended, you know, and then my sister again talked a little bit about it. Sorry about background noise. My granddaughter is stimming really hard in the background, but now I'm like, that was the best compliment ever, you know. And that isn't that life, you know. We sometimes our view is limited because of what we've experienced and what we know. And then the more that we are open to learning and understanding, the more we see the world for how it truly is and how beautiful it is. And again, we get rid of that black and white thinking. And another form of magic right there is just, again, belief. It's where you are on that journey that, to me, defines your inner power, you know. All right, and the last question. Number 10, what wisdom would your inner witch whisper to the collective if they could speak? If my inner witch could whisper wisdom to the collective, she'd probably smile and say, be here, be now. Because truly the only power we have is in this moment. Time isn't linear, it's layered. The past brought us here, but it's gone. And the future hasn't arrived yet. All that ever is now, and the now is where magic lives. When we drift too far into yesterday, which we can carry guilt and regret, when we worry too much about tomorrow, we create anxiety and fear. But when we root ourselves in the present, when we feel what we're feeling and ask why, we reconnect with our power. We reconnect with our magic. That doesn't mean I've mastered it. Honestly, this is advice I'm still giving to myself. I still get lost in other people's energy, in the chaos, in the noise. But every time I return to the now, I remember who I am. I remember that my perception shapes my reality, that every emotion is a compass, not a curse. Shadow work has taught me that we don't need to live in the dark to understand it. We can visit it, honor it, learn from it, and then bring its wisdom back into the light, because both light and shadow exist between the same spectrum. Hot and cold, joy and pain, it's all the same current, just different degrees of being. So the wisdom my inner witch would share is this. Stay awake in the moment. Feel what's real. And question what isn't. Don't let the world pull you into fear or numbness. Live in the gray, the liminal, the space between, and let that be enough. Because I believe that's where magic breathes. And that's where you meet yourself again. I just want to say thank you, because this was awesome. All right, so for the tarot spread, I'm also going to use Darkness Falls. And we will try to do this in a very short, timely manner. Let's get a good shuffle. So the first question is the root, where the witch in me comes from. This would be ancestral or past life. Interesting. I'm sorry. The second question is the flame. What ignites my magic today? What ignites my magic today? Wow, isn't that interesting? Okay, so the tool, a skill, an herb, or ally I naturally work with. All right. 4, the shadow, a fear, a wound, or limitation that shapes my path. A fear, the shadow, a fear, wound, or limitation that shapes my path. Oh, that makes more sense. The gift, what my witch self brings to others. What my witch self brings to others. Huh. Yeah. The mirror, how others perceive the witch in me. Others perceive the witch in me. Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense, doesn't it? The legacy. What the witch in me is here to leave behind. Let me see that. Well. My goodness. So now it's time to take a look at what this is. All right. Coffee, because this part I'm doing very next day. Actually 2 days later because of my schedule. But I didn't want to leave it out, so. All right. I'm probably going to ask for clarification on these. So the first one is where the witch in me comes from. And for the King of Cups, I feel like it's all heart. It's the mastering of the heart. You know what I mean? So the witch in me does come from that. And I agree with that because I'm at my best when I'm in balance, when my heart and mind are at balance. So look, you see what's next there, right? So the flame, what ignites my magic today. So I would say that is the heart and the mind when they are in tune with each other. I am like, I can do anything, really, when those two things are aligned. The Two of Cups is a skill, herb, or ally that I naturally work with. The tool, well, that tool is also my heart, and I naturally work with others, you know, but it's when there is a contract, I think, when there is that ally, that's, I have to, God, this sounds weird, okay, but my sister is also my soul, she's like a twin flame in that aspect. Our lives are mirrored. What do you want to say? It's almost like everything that we go through is very similar. And I feel like we come together with that. We don't always agree on everything, but we talk to each other about everything. And believe me, when she was missing, you know, when we were missing each other, that was a great loss in my life, because this is like without her, I don't know, I think I turned to the dark side more, you know what I mean? So it's like with her, I kind of have that balance. and so it is, it's not just, I mean, everything is about my heart. Everything is about my heart and much more, but I know that's where I project from, you know? So maybe a little clarification on that one. Let's do a little. So let me see. Let me grab a deck and look at what I just got. speaking of Rochelle, that's why I think I'm going to use this deck. The Witchy Wisdom Oracle. So, yeah. All right, let's do a quick shuffle. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I got to do a walkthrough of this, but most of the bags. Absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so if we're asking for clarification on number 3, the tool, a skill or herb or ally that I naturally work with. So my mind automatically goes to my sister. So, like, let's get some clarification, though. A tool, so an herb. I don't know why that is. Those are the two that came out. Kind of makes sense. Gratitude. It's like she's got enough gratitude for all of us, right? You know what I'm saying? She helps me to see things. But this is also a tool for myself. It's gratitude. And yes, I'm grateful for everything. I see the good in everything. Even in the dark, because that's where you see the most, I think, is when you shine the light in the dark. That's where you see the most. Harvest, offering, honor with ceremony. So, yeah, it's my bounty. My bounty are my tools. Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. It makes sense. So let's leave those with that one. Such beautiful cards. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, and then 4 was the shadow, a fear, wound, or limitation that shapes my path. And that is like, you know, it's not knowing everything. It's letting go of what I think I need to know, or what's not serving. You know what I mean? Yeah, I would say that's it. A fear, a wound, or limitation that shapes my path. Now, I'm asking for clarification on that, because we know that shadow work doesn't necessarily just mean stuff in this incarnation, right? So let's give a quick shuffle. All right, so clarification on the wound. Oh, wow, okay. Dissociation. Okay, so for those of you that have my deck, you are able to go to my Ko-fi shop and download this PDF for free. And thanks to my sister, it's very easy to navigate. You can just go to the table of contents and look up the card, which is dissociation, right there. And it takes you to the write-up. And this is an echo. And the echo is a core, it's manifestation from a core wound. So it's how it affects us in adulthood. Excuse me. Gosh darn it. The description is when reality was unbearable, the child self learned to leave the body, to escape into mind, fantasy, or numbness. In adulthood, this can manifest as zoning out, feeling unreal, or losing time. The key words are escape, disconnection, survival mode. Checking out mentally helped the child survive unbearable moments. And so the healing prompts are: what triggers my urge to check out? How do I know I'm disconnected from my body? And what helps me return to presence? I am present and grounded in my body. And if you watched or listened to the whole The Witch in Me, my advice is to be here, be now. And I said that advice is for me. it's so true, because when the world gets overwhelming, and believe me, right now it is, with everything that I have going on, and I'm still searching for the routine, you know what I mean? Because without it, I check out, because I get overwhelmed. Without the routine, I get overwhelmed. And this is exactly what I do. And it happens more lately. I know you've noticed, because it's hard for me to even watch anything, because if I'm zoned out, I'm not paying attention. I'm not here. I'm not now. God, that is definitely a wound that is affecting me, and it does affect me. So that is, wow, goodness gracious, that's right on the money. So what do I need to let go of? I guess I need to figure that out, don't I? Because it's that feeling of being overwhelmed, for sure. So the fifth question is what does my witch self bring to others? And I think this is accurate. So the card is the Two of Wands. I want to drink my coffee. And when I think about the Two of Wands, like that's kind of like understanding that there's more than one way. You're never stuck. You're never stuck with just what's in front of you. You don't. I always look at this: should I stay or should I go? It's personal power when you understand that you're never stuck. And I think I do present that. My voice is not just for my own point of view. I think I do speak for others. When someone is trying to shove, there's only one way. And we hear that all the time, right? Because the world is so divided right now. If you're not on my side, you're just not a human being. You just don't believe in human rights. Yeah, horse caca. That's horse shit. It really is. And everyone has their own way of looking at things. That means your way is right, and that does give personal power. So I do think that's accurate. I believe that my voice can bring that to others, that might even be sitting on the fence about something. You know what I mean? To help them to realize that even that is a better view than if you're just standing on one side or the other. That's just my opinion. But yeah, I think I can be that voice for other people. And 6, the mirror, how others perceive the witch in me. Yeah, I definitely, I can see that others might perceive me that way just because of this, given voice to, you've got, with the way social media is and the way the world is, I bring in a different perspective, and probably not everybody likes that. And so they see the devil in me. They think that maybe I'm trying to cause drama, or maybe, no, it's not, but that's me mirroring your own horse caca right back at you. You know what I mean? That's what it is. I'm pretty sure that it makes sense. I have that trickster energy, of mirroring your own bullshit right back at you. I could see people seeing my horns that way. The legacy. What the witch in me is here to leave behind. And wow, right? I think it's just to make people question their own crap. But let's get some clarification on 5 of Swords. I'm all about shadow work and seeing your own darkness and understanding that, especially because I know that people follow me, and what message am I giving? It's like, or it's calling out the people that think they have won somehow with this narrow-mindedness. And I do think that, yeah, we're looking at the mental plane here with the swords. So let's get some clarification on it. So what is the witch in me here to leave behind? And again, I'm gonna, oh, not that one. I want to use Rochelle's witchy wisdom. Well, let's see then, shall we? Make your space special. What am I here to leave behind? Make your space special. Yeah. So, I think this kind of brings us back into the now, right? It's kind of like being grateful for what you have and utilizing it. And then if you add this with it, it's like, it doesn't matter what you've been through. There is a positive in this. I really do. I mean, this card isn't the greatest to get, but I think that if you interpret it positively, it's the ending of this crap, right? It's the ending of this black and white thinking. It's the ending of, your destructive ways. It's realizing your own crap. It's standing up for what you believe in. You are enough. You're enough, right? And it doesn't matter what anyone else says. Don't let someone else make you question yourself. Just be convinced in what you have going on, but understand it, right? See it for what it is. If you're not happy, then you don't need someone else validation or someone else to say, well, especially that, again, that black and white thinking, then you don't need someone else to tell you you're a witch or that what you're doing is wrong, or that you're not enough for the craft, or it's just, it goes back to the dang label and the division of use your voice for this or whatever. No, whatever you believe, that's what you give power to, right? And these swords are very mental, so I do think that it's an ending of the bullshit. And just be here, be now, and make it special. Work with what you got. Yeah. You know what? Again, like I said, this was excellent. Thank you, Celina. The whole exercise of just the tag and the questions was phenomenal. And I really, really appreciate it. And I had a lot of fun, and I love anything that makes me think. So the introspection on all of it itself was just excellent. And I hope others jump in and do this. October has not ended. All right. I think that this time of the year anyway it's an amplification of where my head is most of the time anyway, where my heart is most of the time. So it's almost like the veil thinning feels so freaking good to me, because I see more and I question less because of as far as what I'm seeing, you know what I mean, from beyond. Yeah, it feels good. It gives me that clarification that I need for some things. So, all right. Thank you for spending this time with me. I don't want to babble anymore. And I will see you in the next one.